Hey, it's Magic Addict 24 with my very first Magic video. Today I'm going to be doing a deck overview of one of my commander decks. I have 32, so I hope to make more if this video gets some traction. So be sure to like, subscribe, engage, share, all that stuff. Help me out, and we will get more coming. I have 32 decks, so there's plenty of material. So, with no further ado, at the helm of this deck is Elminster. He is a 5 mana, 1 blue, 1 white, 3 generic planeswalker that can be my commander, as stated on the card. It enters with 5 loyalty counters and these abilities. Whenever you scry, the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less to cast, where X is the number of cards looked at while scrying this way. The +2, draw a card, then scry 2, -3, exile the top card of your library. Create a number of 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature tokens with flying equal to that card's mana value. Now, you might suspect that this card would be primarily focused on scrying, which, don't get me wrong, there's a handful of scrying cards in there. However, the deck is really taking the approach of a draw, land, go control deck, a traditional Azorius hard control deck. So that means it's chock full of card draw, card selection, spot removal, board wipes, counter spells, and a win condition or two, of course. So let's jump into it. Card advantage, or it's really card selection for the most part, but there's cards like Ponder. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put them back in any order. You may shuffle, then draw a card. Preordain, scry 2, then draw a card. Serum Visions, draw a card, then scry 2. Brainstorm, draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. Rhystic Study, we all know that one. Are you going to pay the one? And then Sensei's Divining Top. Again, more selection, and we can draw a little bit with it too. We got more straight up card selection. Look at the top 3, put in one in your hand, rest on the bottom in any order. The top 4, same thing. Search for Escanta. Once there's 7 cards in your graveyard, you can transform it. It becomes a land that lets you have an ability for 3 mana to look at the top 4 cards of your library, reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them, and put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom. And Jace's Sanctum even, cost reduction, scrying every time I cast an instant or sorcery, which is the bulk of what this deck is. There's only 1 creature in this entire deck, so that's definitely going to come in handy and synergizes well with this bad boy. So all of that to help me dig through my deck to find the answers I need when I need them, and really kind of make sure I make it to the late game to seal the deal. I should have mentioned this first, but there's 37 lands in the deck. There's a bunch, and I love the stained glass basics. Oh, beautiful. Anyway, moving on. We got Mana Rocks, Soul Ring, Azorius Signet, Thought Vessel, Arcane Signet, Talisman of Progress, Star Compass, Mind Stone, all just to kind of help me get over that mana curve hump. Moving on, spot removal for creatures particularly. There's only 6 in here, which is, intuitively a little low for a control deck, but once you see that I'm running a slew of board wipes, you'll understand. Reality Shift, Condemn, Swords to Plowshares, Pongify, Path to Exile, Rapid Hybridization. Moving on to those board wipes, we got Shrink and Storm, aka Wrath of God. We got Hallowed Burial, Day of Judgment, Cyclonic Rift, Supreme Verdict, Fumigate, Terminus, Depopulate, Shatter the Sky, No Witnesses, and Out of Time. And almost out of breath. So, yeah, that is the removal package as far as like just board wipes and spot removal. Keep the board clean. I am a germaphobe when it comes to creatures. Got to keep the board clean so I can make it to the end game. Moving on, we got counter spells, obviously. We got a bunch of them. So, an offer you can't refuse, dispel, negate, disallow, absorb, Dovin's Veto, counterspell, arcane denial, render silent, and Archmage's Charm. Archmage's Charm having a little bit of flexibility there, allowing you to choose 1, counter target spell, draw 2 cards, or gain control of non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. And then we got some miscellaneous cards I'm just going to go through. I got Felden's Cane and Elixir of Immortality. to kind of replenish my library. Once I get into that late game, there's going to be a lot of cards in my graveyard at that point, mostly instants and sorceries. Some of them I may want to see back, or if my win condition's countered and hopefully not exiled, I will be able to get that back into the library as well. The resiliency, the longevity here, that's what these two cards assist with. We got Spellbook, no maximum hand size, given the number of cards I'm going to be drawing, coupled with the fact that I might need to hold on to them for the opportune moments. I don't want to have to discard anything in the process. So cards like Spellbook are in here. You saw Thought Vessel was included. And then we also got Reliquary Tower in the land, the land package there. So all of that helps me not have to worry about the number of cards I have in my hand. And then we got this Teferi's Protection. You never know. You never know when you're going to need this. It could just give me that one extra turn I need to seal the deal. Just a solid card overall. No harm in running it, right? Now, all of that is all well and dandy, but maybe we should get around to the win condition. Approach of the Second Sun. Surprise, surprise, Approach of the Second Sun is in a control deck. Who would have thought? Me. And I put it in there, in case you're unfamiliar. If this spell was cast from my hand and I've cast another spell named Approach of the Second Sun this game, I win the game. Otherwise, put it 7th from the top of my library and gain 7 life. That's the primary way to win. That's what all of this is here to help me get to and succeed with. But, sometimes plans don't unfold the way they should, so we got some backups. Grindy backups. Really, really grindy backups, but backups nonetheless. We'll start with Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. His -3 will allow me to potentially deck out my opponents, make them run out of cards in their library while I keep bouncing Teferi himself to the top of mine when I have no cards left until they draw into nothing and lose. Now that's grindy. How long will it take to get through 99 cards in a deck for 2 or 3 other people? It's far-fetched, but it's a possibility. Then we got Elspeth, Sun's Champion. Pretty obvious, creates the tokens. It can destroy some shit, but it creates the tokens and can create that emblem to buff them and make them flying, which would be great. Now, this is kind of a little counterintuitive as a strategy considering all the board wipes I run, but, it's there if I need it. And, I do have the one creature in the deck, Eitherling, however you want to say it. I'm not really sure, but he happens to be my favorite blue creature of all time. A lot of it's sentiment and nostalgia, but hey, I still think he's solid. It's just tough considering 40 life total starting and a multiplayer format. I mean, as a control finisher in a 60 card standard format type of thing back in the day, he was solid, and that's kind of where my love for him comes from. But still, he could put in some work in a very long, grindy game where I have no other options. For instance, if my Approach of the Second Sun is countered and exiled or something like that. So anyway, if you couldn't read, he's a 4/5 creature, shapeshifter. For 1 blue, I can exile him and then return him to the battlefield under my control, or its owner's control, which is me, at the beginning of the next end step. Great if I want to keep him, attack with him, board wipe, attack with him, exile him, board wipe, and then he comes back. That's what I'm trying to say. He can also make himself unblockable, and he can make himself up to an 8/1 or down to a 0/9 or something with his bottom 2 abilities. Again, grindy matchup. He can max take out 8 damage out of a single player in any given turn. But hey, if it comes down to that, I like having the option. And of course, we don't want to forget about the -3 ability that I mentioned earlier from Elminster. I could potentially create a bunch of fairies that also have flying to, maybe help me seal the deal if Approach of the Second Sun does not work out. Any case, that's the deck. If you're interested in the list, let me know. You can DM me. I'll send it to you. That's fine. I have it on Mana Box. It's considered a bracket 4 according to the app, but that's just an estimate. All that said, if you want more videos, remember to like, subscribe, engage, share, all that stuff. Until next time, later.